see. Oh, hey, Alex, you're already here. I'm just sending out links. Ta-da. Read those later. Da-da-da. I'll put some music on in a bit. Streaming. Good afternoon. I just got one more place. Well, two more places to say I'm streaming. Patreon. Mic's a little quiet. It's pretty much at max. Maybe I'm just talking too low. It could be me. I can try to fiddle with it in a sec. One more place to post. It's probably fine. I'll try to bump it up a little bit more. Let's see. What am I looking at? Okay, that's the mic. Grab. Here we go. Mic. So let me bump it up. I think it's by 6s, but let me just do it by 3. Okay, tell me if this is too loud. Sounds good? Alright, I'll leave it at that. Okay, let me just grab some background music. Doom. Let's try this. Alright. Anyway, let me read the... Yeah, like, Eden's not actually like a bad person or a villain character. She's just technically the antagonist for this situation. Alright. Yeah, it's just like, bad Eden, bad. Here, let me just drop a cat on her and make her, now she's nice. All she needed was some pussy. Nah. This page would have been out yesterday, but for some unknown reason, like, this has been an issue with Clip Studio, but for some reason the backups didn't save, but it like crashed on me, so I ended up losing a ton of progress. So now you all get to see me work on it. Although I'm not gonna put down the dialogue. Yeah, it would. But it's not the first time it happened, and it probably won't be the last either. So, just gonna have to roll with it. Sometimes it can be a good thing, like you do something better than what you had before. It's just annoying, though. So I hope everyone else is doing good. I plan to work on the next auction as soon as I can. This time no more birds. I've already done like 3 birds. Which of my girls do I think I'd get along with the most? Probably Becky. Since kind of made her to somewhat be a mirror of a few things. Mostly negative commentary, but that's a whole different scenario. But I'd probably get along with Becky. And I just realized that was not nearly as long as I was expecting it to be. So let's go find a longer version. Click on this. Go back. It's about here. There we go. Excuse me. Wasn't expecting to do that. It would have muted me. Sorry about that. Thank you. But yeah, like, Becky's mom for the recent auction. Like like I wanted to draw her, but I figured, hey, I've drawn too many bird characters, so I decided to throw her and a few other characters onto a wheel, roulette wheel, and spun it. And I did like a point system thing, so it's like, okay, whoever it lands on 3 times is the character I'll draw. And the original idea was like, okay, I was gonna draw her, you know, pregnant, but then I was like, oh, okay, let's just leave that up to chance. So I put her and other characters onto a wheel, along with a bunch of different themes like weight gain and giants and other stuff. Put all those things on a wheel, spun it multiple times, and ended up with pregnant Becky, or pregnant Grace anyway. So the gods willed that I draw Becky's mom pregnant. If they got a job working at a maid cafe, probably a lot of shenanigans. It would likely go well if it stayed organized, like if Jam was like, you know, on top of everything. So it's probably gonna be a hit and miss situation. So it'll probably be good on most days, crazy on others. Probably a lot of arguing and fights and stuff like that. Plum being lazy. Pumpkin Pie being even lazier. But yeah, like, there's gonna always be scenarios like that. I'm thinking of doing another I Had Secrets after I'm done with Greenfield, because this has been a long journey. I did not expect this comic to be this long. But a lot of that had to do with just unfortunate time sinks and having to make all the cards and stuff like that, because that took a lot of time. Yeah, I probably don't need this up here for now. I want to change my setup pretty soon. And then I've been thinking about trying to stream to Twitch or YouTube and see how that fares. But we'll see. Kind of want to get a few things made before then. Just kind of setting her up. She's a little skinnier than that. Raskiwi Jam doing their job. Plum will hit on customers. Abakai eating the food before. Yeah. It would be like Jam is like trying to, you know, keep everything organized, but then maybe occasionally, you know, some customers would be checking Jam out. And like in the back of their heads, it's like, what? It's like, she's a hard ass, but yeah, but what an ass she has. You could probably take twice the number of pages for an episode. Yeah, but also Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga had the benefit of having people helping to work on it, so they could crank out pages. Plus, their cards weren't as detailed back then. Because all it really was just a white square with words on it. And the picture was kind of like simple. Body shape swap. I mean, they can technically do that now. Don't do YouTube if it's lewds. Karen will report you in a heartbeat for the smallest shit. I mean, I'm technically already posting something on YouTube because I post the streams. I mean, I don't know, because there's a lot of technical bullshit that goes on with YouTube. Sometimes it's allowed because it's not anything specific. I don't know. It sadly depends on the lewds too, because it's like, I don't know. All I can say is I'm just doing what I can. Obviously, I'm not going to put anything super explicit, but I think something as basic as a boob it shouldn't be an issue. I say that knowing that somehow it will be an issue. God forbid you see a boob. Jam would be the head maid. Kiwi most likely worked a register. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I mean, whether it be YouTube or Twitch. And if it happens on either, well, at least I have Picardo still. It's dumb, but it is what it is. Especially since the whole YouTube system thing is dumb, where it's like, oh, you have to police your own audience, and they'll make like a bunch of rude comments and get your channel terminated, which is dumb because it's completely unrealistic for YouTube to expect a creator to police their own comment section when they can't plan out how that's gonna go. The most you could do, as far as I'm aware of, is maybe ban words or something. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing that you can do on YouTube. I know it is on Twitch, but that's just dumb to expect creators to police their audience when it's the audience that's causing the problem, or at least, trolls. It's like YouTube takes steps to try to make it so that they don't have to do any work, but doing so, or doing it the way they're doing it, is just making things worse. And obviously it's unrealistic to ask YouTube to, have a human on every little problem that happens, but I don't know. There's like no real way of figuring this out without there being problems, because it's just impossible. You either have an AI that knows exactly what you want them to do and not screw it up, or you're gonna have what we have now. It's just not doable. Yeah, I got pissed off about the ridiculous cake getting taken down. Especially since his lewd content, in air quotes, is just the weight gain stuff. It's not even anything risque. And it's dumb because old cartoons have done exactly what Ridiculous Cake does. So it's not even like oh, he's going out there by doing content people aren't supposed to draw. It's like, no, cartoons have been doing it for decades. Like, it's not even anything new. It's just people being whiny little babies who don't even know how to handle cartoons at this point. And you're just messing it up for everybody else. It's like, okay, guys, you do realize if you keep policing this kind of or trolling this content, I should say, we're just going to end up with nothing interesting. Because all the interesting stuff either left the websites that they were prominent on and went elsewhere, or they just said screw it and just stopped entirely. That's basically what you're gonna get. Yeah, Gary's great. I like Gary. Ridiculous Cake has been drawing more of her every once in a while on Picardo and Patreon. But yeah, it's just dumb that people are getting so pissy over content that isn't even that bad, and yet all this energy doesn't go to like real life problems. That's like the sad part. Yeah, he's drawn them doing a few other things on the side. Like, I think it was mostly just either single pics or like a mini comic. But yeah, I hope he does like another Gary animation in the future, if he hasn't already. I wouldn't mind drawing his characters. That'd be fun. I don't think he'd have a problem if I drew any of his characters. If he does, I mean, you can always just let me know and I'll be like, alright. But I don't think he'd have an issue. Could probably draw them for fun sometime. Yeah. And it kind of sucks because, like, I don't know how... I can't remember how big his audience was on YouTube. But, like, if he was making anything off of YouTube, that was helping. And it just sucks that YouTube would flag his content in that fashion when it's literally no different than any other old cartoon. And even modern cartoons still do the exact same content, so I don't know what they were expecting or what they thought was different about his compared to other cartoons. Because by that logic, things like Vor would be an issue, which, you know, the movie Bad Guys shows in the freaking trailer. So it's like, okay, are you gonna do something about that? No, you won't, because it's a big company that owns that. Although, every once in a while a big company gets flagged, but not because YouTube had an issue with it, it's because of an algorithm thing. Yeah, the Diamond birthday thing was fun. I thought it was really good. Especially with the nice voice acting that went with it. Yeah, and his mouse OC, I keep saying I want to say I know it's not Mrs. Bigsby. Great, now I gotta look that up before it gets to me. So what is her name again? Dig is Brushwood or something like that? Let me check real quick. Ridiculous Cake. I can just check over here. Oh, Thrustwood. There we go. Miss Thrustwood. Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. But yeah, like, none of that was crazy, offensive, explicit content or anything like that. It was just weight gain or inflation. I guess at most the popping thing could have been an issue, but that again has been done in old cartoons and even new cartoons, so you can't even argue that one either. It's just people bitching about something that's been around forever and wasn't even an issue. I don't know. But yeah, stuff like that just irks me. Because I appreciate the time and effort that goes into that kind of content. And a lot of time people just think things like, oh, these artists just crank out all this lewd artwork, and it's like, guys, it takes depending, obviously this changes per artwork, but it's like, it takes us like 3+ hours to make anything decent. And people just assume we just crank it out in like 20 minutes and that we're just using it to be despicable or whatever. And it's like, guys, If we wanted it to be that easy or that simple of thought process, we wouldn't go through all the work. Like the stuff that happened with Tsukimi-chan recently. Like, that too is stupid. So it's just dumb. Just people making things harder. And then they're gonna get all butthurt. It's like, oh, why isn't there anything good? It's like, I don't know. You guys all complained about it. And the sad part is, I know why YouTube's doing it. Because honestly, if it was up to YouTube, they probably wouldn't even give a shit. But because they have investors and other companies that want to post ads on their website, they have to bend over backwards for them, as well as banks. Because for some freaking reason, everyone thinks that, oh, we have to have family-friendly content. And it's like, guys, you can easily split the groups if you want, but also people, the quote-unquote family-friendly people are also looking up lewd stuff, so I don't even... It's just, it's like a win-lose situation. But yeah, most of the time it's just companies trying to save face, even though their audience looks at lewd stuff on their own. So I don't even know what they're trying to pretend that they're being all family friendly with. It's kind of like how Disney will put in suggestive things into their cartoons, or, well, animations, movies, whatever, but then just ignore it. Like, they'll pretend it wasn't even there, even though they do it. And then if people make lewd versions of their characters, they just don't acknowledge it, but they know that that's a part of the fan base, or their audience. And they just take advantage of it in secret, because they know better. Nintendo is, like, still struggling in that area, because they haven't, like, quite figured that part out yet. Like, they're aware that people draw lewds of their characters, but they haven't, like, accepted it completely and just ignore it. Oh yeah, freaking Wreck-It Ralph, yeah, definitely. That was a weight gain, technical inflation popping thing too. And that happened. So, I don't know. One day artists won't have to deal with this bullshit anymore. Which is why, luckily, some sites like OnlyFans kind of got the picture when they were trying to appease to their bank, and then everyone went fucking crazy when they found out. So then they somehow found a solution to that. They're like, oh, guys, we're not gonna take this away, and everyone's like, huh. Kind of funny how a moment ago you said that it was impossible for this to not happen, and then suddenly you change it. Weird. But yeah, it is. I know I'm ranting too much about it. Just the subject pisses me off when it's unfair in that fashion. Disney has some more violence. Yeah, Disney is weird in some areas, because it's like, in older cartoons they were willing to show a character getting, you know, like, it wasn't like too bloody, but like just enough where you knew what was going on, like when Maleficent gets stabbed in the chest with the sword. And depending on what it is, they will shy away from showing the violence. Future society will have weight gain and war. I mean, yeah, I can see that slowly happening. It's just dumb. If Ridiculous Caveman in animation of my characters, Which would you want it to be? Honestly, I just let Ridiculous Cake choose. Say, hey, whoever you're interested in, go for it. I don't care. I think it'd be fun just to see him do it. I'm gonna eat page 8. So yeah, I will gladly let him pick anybody. I need this panel. Yeah, I know he doesn't do OCs. Because he has his taste in characters. Plus, if certain characters are like way too overcomplicated, then that's also another strike against the idea. Here. Yeah. Just fill it in. The only thing spoilery about it is just visually of what you're seeing. I'm not going to put in the dialogue. I usually do that off stream, so you can only speculate what's happening. Yeah, like, even though initially the Creamfield characters were made to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Keep the weight gain audience around. Ultimately, that was just honestly a bad decision on my end. I think it was just more of a panic decision. But I did want to add in like an actual story to them along with the weight gain. Like, weight gain will still show up, but I wanted them to actually, you know, have somewhere to go with their arc. So that's why I have a storyline planned out for them. And weight gain is like a secondary. Pretty much how that happened with Marcy and Skylar. Like, weight gain was still going to be their thing, but there was like an actual story to go around with it. Oh yeah, I still enjoy weight gain. I just like doing other things too. Like, I got to the point where it's like, I'll still do weight gain from time to time, but I want to do other themes as well. But that's why I also made the Fat Lovers Club, so that way when I'm not doing weight gain stuff, there's still, or weight gain comics, there's still like weight gain art floating around. But like, I still enjoy it. And then that's also why I made like other art sets to have other theme categories and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I don't dislike it. I just like doing more stuff. Is it my favorite? I think weight gain's my favorite, but I also I would say it's my favorite in terms of like, it's something I probably come back to the most, and then other categories are like my second, and then ongoing. But probably weight gain's the favorite. But it just kind of depends, because like, sometimes you just need like a good story to go along with it to make it better. and not just, seeing the eye candy, because the eye candy's fine, but without context, it's kind of just there. Because honestly, I think a story behind it makes it better. We'll fix that in a minute. The idea of Wiki worming its way into the fruit cast. Yeah, because they're like aware that that's their quota, that they have to perform weight gain in their comics. Cookie Rofox was originally an adoptable, and it wasn't really hard coming up with like a storyline for that character. It's just like, okay, how about a decommissioned or a recalled robot or cooking robot goes crazy, and like let's just say somebody finds it in like a warehouse or something, takes it home, not realizing why the Rofoxes were recalled, and then simple weight gain ensues or whatever. Like it's a easy to do weight gain story, because Cookie is not a major character, so something simple to do with that character. Maybe I was thinking of doing Hell of a Boss characters at some point. I did want to do a weight gain set for the Hush series at some point too. I'm just trying to like spread certain things out so that way I'm not like overlapping too much. But yeah, like I didn't plan on drawing 3 bird characters in a row for the auction. That just kind of happened. Well, the first 2 was intentional because I just kind of wanted to draw the characters that I wanted to draw, and then forgot that they were birds. But with Grace, that was I literally left that up to God on if that was going to be a thing, and the heavens sang and said, yes, draw this pregnant duck. So I did. Yeah, I like Charlie's redesign. It's not too crazy. Like they made it simple, but still like she looks still demonic. Like I like the fangs that they gave her, or I'm pretty sure she had them before, but I think they're more prominent in the redesign. And then they just made her hair easier to manage. Okay, we'll do. Let's fix up his hand. In August, the first year of Fat Lowers Club will be public to buy, and I'll work out how the price is going to be, because I'm trying to justify a year's worth of stuff, or unless I just break it up into sections to make it easier. But initially I want to just have it all, like the whole year, into one set. And then as for year 2, I was thinking of just breaking it up into seasons, so that way people aren't waiting so long to be able to get them. But I might work that out a little bit more. But that's my initial thoughts on what I was gonna do with it. But yeah, the idea is just, year 1 will just be in this big set. And I'll try to not make it too expensive. Ah, he goofed on her name. That's funny. Overload of fat. Fat overload. Okay, that. Do I want to? Nah, I don't need to do that. So we'll just do this. Is there any frames I can take from myself to make this easier? Probably not, since she's always facing that direction. She's always been in that position. The only time she's not is when I darkened her. That's fine. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to look again because it's been a while. Unless Octavia has like a middle name or something and he just says that by accident. But yeah, I get you. It's interesting to see the mistakes like that. Becky got you liking birds. BRB for a bit. Well, good. I'm glad you like birds. Bird characters are great. Like, I've always liked ducks. Cranfield has the same self-aware continuity. I haven't watched the Markiplier in Space thing yet. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, like, I've always liked bird characters for the most part. Because, like, Donald Duck was my favorite of the Disney characters, of the male Disney characters. And then, after him would probably be Daisy, but, then you got Daffy from the Warner Brothers, so yeah. Alright, how are we doing your face? Thick. The chickens in Chicken Run, though. Yeah. I mean, like the characters that you like, there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm glad you guys appreciate other characters because of whether it be me or anyone else's artwork to get you into something. I think the first time I really got into, like, because, like, in terms of, like, weight gain and other stuff like that, like, that's always been, you know, present in, like, older cartoons and stuff. But, I think that what really got me just to go deeper into it was probably, the artist Duo Raiden. Or Raiden? Blah, probably getting mispronouncing. But, I think they go by Squeaky now. But back in the day, like, I had randomly come across their stuff when I was younger, and I was just fascinated because I love the artwork, so I just went deeper. And I was like, oh, these are really good, and I just read that stuff all the time whenever there's anything new. Or, like, whenever they did, like, a commission comic, so that was fun. definitely gives me ideas for future stuff. Grace looks like Daffy's sister. Would laugh if we saw a non-canon kid Becky standing next to Uncle Daffy. That's assuming that Grace would even tolerate Daffy's presence, to even want to be around him. Same thing for Becky. Becky would be like, no, no. Yeah, that's how rabbit holes work. Imagine a fruitcast girl named Pear. Monobutt. That was almost gonna be Peach, but I decided to just emphasize on her butt. I could always change it, but so that way she's a little bit more unique compared to Jam. But yeah, Peach could have the mono butt. I just gotta redesign her a bit. But we'll see. Or I could either just add, well, no, adding it would be a bit of a stretch. I think redesigning would make the most sense. But yeah, like, I've always been into, like, furry characters. I mean, honestly, if you grew up in the 90s, you were most likely going to be into furry stuff. Maybe not to, like, the degree that me and other people are, but, interest in it would probably be there. Nah, I already have enough characters in that category. I mean, I already got 22 of them, and the unknown slots that I haven't shown up yet. So yes, I have more than enough fruit characters at this point. As much as I would like to add more, I do not need to. If by some chance I do, they will likely be non-canon. I mean, initially I was supposed to have only 5, so look where that got me. Oh yeah, of course Nerdy is sexy. Why do you think I made Stacy? And then there are other nerdy characters I have. Mono Bud Becky. But yeah, like, there's just tons of characters I wanted to do. Why not draw both? What's stopping you? I was watching a old interview with Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane, And one of the questions that someone asked was, you know, how do you start a comic or just like art in general? And Stan Lee's response is like, just do it. Which is, yeah, that's like pretty much every artist's answer is like, you just do it. Because if you don't do it, then you're not doing it, so do it. And, you know, just don't do it for the wrong reasons. That's basically it, really. Can you find paper and pen? Or pencil? If you can, then use that. Even if it's just a rough. It's just something to put it on paper, so that way you have a basic idea and then you just make it better. Skyler and some of the characters do Smasher. Oh god. If I ever did a smash or pass of my characters, I have no idea how I'd go about it. If I was doing like a weight gain edition, I would probably need to have a decent amount of like chubby characters to pad it out. Because a lot of them are just like the same character. At least I think so. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. But yeah, if that's something I ever do, I'd have to like manage it all to make it work. Veteruscy back at the other place. Ah, I see. Well, hopefully all this pent-up art ideas in you will pan out when you vent it all out when you get back. Just be like, yes, I'm home, then go immediately to Ludes. Actually, let's do that after I get the rest of her body. No, they would have to be non-canon based on what's happening in Greenfield. Because if they're not, then that will bring up a lot of questions. Especially when it comes to this specific page that I'm doing right now. But it'll get there. Let me just thin out her neck a bit more. But yeah, like I think I have enough of the fruit cast at this point. And plus I can always just save the ideas that I may or may not use on the fruit cast for like other characters like Nadine or Vanilla or Cookie Robot. Like, there are other characters that can fulfill the roles too. No problem, take care. See you later, Alex. Yeah, like I think at the absolute least if there was like a character that I wanted to be a non-canonical fruit character, but still like make them a fruit character for whatever reason, just do like a spin-off comic or something. Could be like, you know, Apricot telling a story of the super special, awesome, amazing adventures of Peach, and then it's just a giant shenanigan story done by Apricot. So there you go. It could be something like that. She just makes up a fruit girl and says all these special adventures. And she's like, and then Peach talked to Kiwi, and Kiwi did this, and Kiwi's like, I did not. I was like, wait, why are you making this up? But yeah, like, I'm not gonna promise anything, but if that were to be the case, then there you go. That could be something to do. That I need of the body. Got an idea for... blah, blah, blah. Maybe. The main idea of the Secrets comics was to make it mini stories of characters that won't be getting like a huge spotlight. But like they're still like canon and all that. Fat Blake's comic is a special case because which is why it's named Special Episode, which is because Fat Blake winning a poll like dramatically over other characters, and so to make up for it, I just gave her own comic and gave the runner-ups their own art. So that was more of a special case. Secrets is not initially supposed to focus on that. At least not like alternate versions of characters. But I can always use like the special episodes for that case. But I'm trying to like do those far and far between all that. Never got such a story done. Yeah. Maybe, like, I mean, obviously I can't promise anything because, you know, there's so much to do. And I'm more likely to work on the stuff that I have planned than to go off the path too much nowadays. So if I do happen to do it, then that'll be like like I had the time to do so or something like that, or like something came to mind that I wanted to do. But like a lot of the ideas, I would prefer to use it on up and coming characters than to just keep giving it to older characters over and over and over again. especially if I want those events to be canon. Yeah, a lot of the ideas is just I would prefer to just give it to characters that it can work with. Because constantly giving it to like Skylar, Marcy, Blake, or any other character over and over again just kind of ruins the specialness of them having what they have in the first place. Which is why I threw in Fat Skylar as a bit of a bone for the bad ending for iHat, because it wasn't like gonna impact the overall story. Yeah, unless I do some like special comic again, pretty much all that's just gonna be on the back burner until I either make a special comic or just give the ideas to another character that I can work with. Yeah, because like the Creamfolk characters were made so that way I could just do their shenanigans over and over. But even they have an actual plot now, so they're not gonna be around forever. They could if I did some like side comics every once in a while of them just doing shenanigans. But the overall idea is just that whatever new idea comes after the fact, I would prefer to just use it for a newer character, or a character that hasn't had a chance to have a spotlight, especially if the theme goes along with what they initially are. So like, for example, let's put Skylar in a pie factory and he can get stuff with pie. Then it's like, okay, but we can just use another character, and then I can use Cookie Rofox for that exact purpose, because that's exactly what Cookie does. So that way you get two characters to have fun with. And even technically the character that gets stuff with pie can kind of be anybody, because the focus would be Cookie in that case. And then there's the storyline with Nepta. There's a future comic I want to do with Becky's mom. So yeah, there's just a lot of things I want to do, and I don't want to put too much time into non-canon stuff. At least for now. And if I do something non-canon, it'll probably be a art set. Yeah, like I was thinking of using an original character for Cookie's victim. I was just debating on if that character was going to have any significance in other stories or just be some rando. Probably just some rando, so that way it's not like, oh, you have to read this comic to know what's going on. Now with this character, it's like, nah, the focus is Cookie, so let's just keep it that way. Yeah. I just have to not get attached to the random character, that's my only problem. Because there's been several characters that were supposed to be randos that ended up being more than planned. Like Emerald, for example, she was supposed to be just some random character and she ended up having a plot. Let's bring this up more. Yeah. Like, it's not a bad thing to have, but it's just gonna be one of those situations where it's like, there's so many characters, can only focus on so many. So I'm just gonna try to crank out as many stories and characters and ideas as I can before there's a chance that I can't for whatever reason. Jeez, it's already been an hour. Probably not gonna go too long with the stream this time because I'm just working on this. But I do want to get this done by today. It just sucks that this would have been done already if it hadn't, if my program hadn't crashed. And the sad part is, like, I usually can tell when it's like in the middle of saving or whatever it was doing that would cause the crash. It just didn't have it. Like, happened at such a specific moment that I like clicked on something and that's what caused it to crash. Because it's like a very specific scenario where if you click while it's in the middle of doing something in a particular way, then it will cause the crash. And I just happened to click it at the wrong time. So I'll try to be better about that. And just, you know, try to save more often. Because, like, it has a restore feature, just for some reason it hasn't been working as of late. So it's hard to tell if it's, like, maybe the version that I'm using is messed up, or somehow I messed it up. And I'm, like, afraid to try to, like, re-download it, because I don't want to lose the settings I have. Excuse me, the settings I have. So maybe I'll just take note of all of my settings and brushes that I have and try to save them if possible, and then re-download the program so that way it'll be refreshed. So maybe that's something I'll do in the future. I'll just have to take a day to set all that up. Actually, this is a lot smaller. Okay. And this is basically just gonna be this stream, it's just me working on this page. Trying to set things up. Trying to think of how many pages are left before we get to the weight gain stuff. I want to say there's maybe 4 more pages after this one, and then it gets to the weight gain stuff. Kind of depends on how much dialogue I put into the other pages and what I can show that I want to show. But after that, it would be the obligatory weight gain. And then, like, I'll make up a scenario that makes it somewhat fit into the plot. It's like, oh, why is this happening? It's like, oh, we gotta meet our quota. And then debating on if Eden is gonna be there for it. Probably not. Since it's it'll probably be more entertaining to get like a random character to help out. And then gonna try to crank out more stuff that I've been planning out. I do want to do the weight gain set, but I might wait just a little bit longer. I don't know, I'll have to look at what I've done so far and then decide. It's usually how I work. Thing that's broken. Yeah. And like all the characters are supposed to have their own like theme too outside of the weight gain, so I'm trying to implement that stuff too. Because like Kiwi's thing is the whole gambling aspect, which is why all of this was a game. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying to make them just not super one note. I mean, like, nothing's stopping me from just making a weight gain series for the sake of a weight gain series and not think about it too much. Like, okay, it doesn't matter what the characters do, they just get fat, and then, I don't know, reset it, do it again, reset it, do it again. the world they live in doesn't matter because there's nothing to think about. You just do it. Like, I can easily do that. I just choose not to. And originally that was what the Creamful Girls were for. They were going to originally just be mindless weight gain and nothing more to it. Like, they didn't even have their own themes at the time. Aside from, like, just their initial takes of, like, okay, Kiwi likes to gamble, Plum's a horror dog, Apricot's kind of dumb, Raz is an alcoholic, and if we count Jam, then Jam is just, like, the overbearing, mighty as thou type. Like, just a loudmouth. And that was, like, it. But then afterwards, I was just kind of like, there's more I want to do. So maybe in the future I'll make a side comic that's just nothing but weight gain. It's just dumb fun. But at the moment, I want to do it this way. I want to say that's like after I've done all the stories that I wanted to do. I still need to make the lists for which characters in I Had are getting full color comics and which ones aren't. And then I think that's pretty much it that I don't really need to explain, because after that it's just like, okay, the World Gates will have their set of characters to get color comics. Then there's Buckle. Then there's the other series that I want to do. That will come after Creamfield. But yeah, lots planned, lots I want to do, so on and so forth. So I am trying to crank them out as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then if there's any like characters I want to revisit, I can always do that in the Secrets series. Because the whole point of Secrets is just, you know, short stories that are still canon. Let's see. But yeah, I'll probably actually I think those are a little bit too thin. Hello, Sacred. Just get go for the next 40 minutes and then call the stream for today. Today's gonna be a rather short one. And then I might stream next week, but I might not have the time, so if I do, it'll probably be like a Friday or Wednesday. If not, then I'll just save it for another week. Then do this. Might want to make this longer. She has some pretty long arms. And then I'll probably do Eden's comic too at some point. If she does do Waking, it'll probably be like out of curiosity. Because she'll probably be like, everyone else is doing it, let's see what the big deal is. And she'll probably do it and not understand it. There we go. And then we shall play this music. So yeah, sorry if this is all tedious. But this is what I do to make the pages. Hopefully the next few pages won't take so long to do. And then pretty much after the comic is done, I'll work on the few extra cards that I need to make because they will be included in the special set that will be for a limited time. Basically, it's just get certain cards early, and they'll eventually be available in their respective sets. But this is just to get them early. So once I make the last few that I need to make, then I'll put those out. Which is only going to be like 3 cards that I need to make. And then the rest will be pretty simple. Actually, let's change this. The rest will just be like other cards that have already been made, but they're in other sets. I mean, I do have a self-insert character. He's so far he's only shown up in World Gates, the new version of it. and he does tease with a Becky taunt, but yeah, like, yeah, but yes, my self insert is in the series already. Just not too much interaction with him. Let's remove our fingers. Move the fig over here. Yeah, I'm thinking of having Fig be part of the effect for Eden. Originally, Eden Fig was only going to have one head, and her name was going to be Fig. But I really wanted to include Eden because of the whole Garden of Eden thing. So I just gave her both names. And they are essentially the same character, it's just they have a dual mind. So they can think in two different conversations. Which is why she's always talking to herself. I'll take a quick look at that. Nice, good stuff. Let me just save it real quick. Come on. There you go. I'll just put it here for now and I can save it into a proper folder. Yeah, because I have, like, I made my own folder for you, Thunder, because I was following your stuff before we started talking, so that's why I have a folder for you. I usually do that with most artists that I really like. I'll make like their own folder. Well, not so much that you just drew a lot of things, it's just I was really interested in the stuff you were doing, so I just kept saving it. And then I eventually, well, by the time I got to you, I was already making folders for artists, but I only do that for the ones I really, really, really like. Although, with that said, I think I might have to make a folder for just like the top tier artists that I really like, just so it's easier to find their stuff. Especially if I'm like looking for certain references that I'm like, oh yeah, this artist did this that was really good, I want to look for that. So I might make a folder just for those specific artists that I would like to come back to. But if not, I have a reference folder as well. It took me a while because I was like systematically going through all the artwork. Boy, did that take a while. Oh yeah. Jessica is still my favorite. Of yours. Usually there's always going to be like someone's character that I have just a supreme bias for. And it's understandable. I mean, people have the biases that they have for my characters too. Most of which is because they don't know what the other characters do. So they just know the ones that they like. Which is nothing wrong with that. Favorite character archetype for kink stuff? Can you be a little bit more specific? Because like I think I know what you mean, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, does it have to like a specific body type or something? I think that you should feature my overseas and Enterate deck. Apricot gets to be the happy squirrel. Maybe. I have to like think about that because tarot cards come in a different shape. So I have to plan that out. Well, I mean I don't have to put them in the same shape, but something to think about. Because technically I have tarot cards, but they're just like characters for the card game. Favorite personality or character traits? I don't know, like I'm kind of flexible when it comes to that. It just boils down to like what their story is. But character writing is definitely a deal breaker at times because like let's just say that for example, even if you have something like cuckolding or whatever, if the dialogue doesn't make sense for the characters that you've established, then it kind of just breaks the whole thing and makes it not so fun. Like, for example, there's a Zootopia comic where initially it was supposed to be about Judy getting pregnant because the setup was that Nick couldn't do that for her because of their species, and so they got a rabbit that was like about the same fur color as Nick to try to knock her up. But then you find out that Judy was sabotaging the events because she liked the idea of getting it on with another guy for some reason. But then Nick also falls into that. So then neither of the characters are slowly, like basically the characters' personalities start falling apart and they just become undone. And then the comic creator's self-insert comes into play. And he's like abnormally big compared to them because of some off-panel lore that he adds where basically his character is like some kind of hybrid, which is why he's so big. And there's like a bunch of other stuff to try to explain why the character does what he does, but it's like, this is all information that you're doing outside of the comic. And then he just deconstructs Judy and Nick, so they're literally not even the characters they're supposed to be. So you're better off just having OCs at that point, because it's like, the reason why you use Nick and Judy is because people like Nick and Judy. You don't just throw them into a scenario that doesn't make sense. But, you know, people can make their own headcanons if they want, but you gotta understand that it sucks away some of the appeal of those characters, other than, oh, I just want to see those characters get screwed over. And that's kind of it. That's all it boils down to if you're not there for the actual characterization of them, or what you call it, just mindless kink. That's kind of it, really. So you have to like figure out, are you using the characters for this because you actually want to use the characters, or are you just using the characters to draw in attention to your story just so you can have your self-insert characters have their way with them. Because then you have a problem with people, with whether or not people like what you've done to the official characters, or if they like your original character, and if they like the pairing and mixing and other, criteria that goes into it. Oh yeah, like, and then there's like, logic situations where it's like, oh, this character eats 3 things and then suddenly they're huge. It's like, that kind of takes away from it. I like a little bit more context to my weight gain stories. Like, seeing a few panels of a character getting fat is alright and all, but if you're trying to, like, establish a comic story, then, I mean, it also depends on what kind of comic you're doing. Because, you can have, like, the nonsense comics where it's just, okay, the world they live in literally doesn't matter. They're just there to get fat, or, whatever kink that they're doing. They're just there to do that, and that's the end of it. Like, you're not supposed to think more than that. But if you're trying to establish a world at that point, then you have to establish what rules there are to that world, and whether or not they're able to be broken. And if they can be broken, you have to be really logical on why. Because, like, there's another comic where a character can get huge, like, city-wise huge type of thing. But then it boils down to, okay, so if this character can be bigger than a building, then how on earth do they manage to, 1, have hold a job, 2, how do they get around? Like, how do they go in and out of buildings if they can literally make themselves bigger than the building itself? And most of the time, it's not by choice; it just kind of happens. And I know in one lore that they made, they established that there's like an insurance policy where that's why buildings can get remade and stuff like that. But then you have to establish, okay, how quickly does that happen? And then if there's such thing as building insurance for those type of situations, then it drums up the question, okay, how many characters are doing this to the point where there's an insurance company for this event? The state of nature, yeah, exactly. Like, you have to pay attention to that stuff if you're going to throw it in. Like, you can't just say, oh, we have building insurance. It's like, okay, but now you gotta establish how often does this happen. Yeah, I am planning on doing that when I get the chance, because like I've been kind of sprinkling it in here and there with some of the lore dumps that I've been doing. But I also would like to do a comic where you actually see these events happen for the most part. But yeah, like, you have to pay attention to that. But this is only if you care that your comic has a world. If you're just making it for dumb fun and you're not supposed to give a shit about the world, then just make it dumb fun and don't pay attention to the world, because the moment you start paying attention to it, that's when anything else you do drums up questions on how your world is supposed to work. And then you're stuck in a logic trap. Because they've even done that in Marvel Comics, where they've explained that, after superheroes have their big fights in the cities and stuff like that, there are actual people that go around and, repair the city. I think they were called the Workers or something like that in Marvel. I'll have to check, but yeah, there is a comic where it just establishes all the hardworking people that have to fix all the superhero nonsense that happens in the city, or in their various countries and stuff like that. It was a really good read, because that way it's like, okay, you get the information you wanted. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I'm fine with pretty much any character for any kink. It's just you, comic wise, or even just dialogue wise, you got to make me care about the character if that's where you're going. If it's just dumb fun, then I can turn my brain off and be like, okay, cool, this character gets fat, move on with my day. But then I'm not going to be really invested in that character in the future. I'm just going to like maybe see them every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, it's that one character, and then save the picture and then move on. But if you can establish like a character that I can get behind, then it's like, okay, cool, I'm interested in this character, I want to see more. And then now it just relies on whether or not the dialogue and story saves the rest of the idea. Because again, like if you're going to use like fan art, or if you're going to do fan art of like official of popular characters like Nick and Judy and all that, you gotta find the fine line between making a fanfic and deleting the character's personality and replace them with basically another character, and they're just using Nick and Judy's skins. Because like with Nick's story, I think it was that because of the whole muzzle thing that got put on him when he was younger, somehow that made him submissive, and which didn't make any sense in the context of where he gets to in the story, because it's supposed to be Nick from the movies, but that doesn't make sense based on how he acts in the movie. I said movies, but you know what I mean, because they're gonna have that spin-off series soon too. But yeah, like at that point you might as well just have a different character, because that's not Nick at that point. Because like the recent page of the comic was like Nick telling the insert character, treat me badly and stuff like that and be an asshole. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why would Nick ask that at all? And then the writer keeps putting in things like, oh, the other characters can tell them no, can tell the insert no and stop and all that, and I'm like, but that's not gonna happen because that's your insert character. That would imply that they had free will, which they don't in this specific instance. But the artwork looks nice. That's a plus thing to it though. Like the artwork was nice for the comic. I thought that was really good. But dialogue and story, I was like, if it was like any other comic, or like if it was just a comic of original characters and they just have like the style of Zootopia, or just keep the artwork that they have, then I think it would have fared a lot better. But because it's supposed to be Nick and Judy, it just starts falling apart. And I'm sure I've had that issue too. I'm trying to be like, if I continue on doing fan comics, which I really need to finish the one I was working on, I need to pay attention to stuff like that. Just make sure you're like, okay, is this the character, or am I just inserting another character's personality? Or at the very least, make it so that it's still the character, but make it fit their personality. Or like you can twist them just enough where it's the same character, but they like curious or something. Which was kind of the case with that Zootopia comic, but then it just slowly started making the characters just other characters. And I think there was like literally 2 pages of Nick acting like Nick from the movies, and then it just went back down the drain. Because like he was being a smartass and being all sly and stuff, but then it just went right back out. Anyway, sorry about my giant rant on that. That's just my initial thoughts of stuff like that. Ultimately, it's fine, it doesn't matter, but it makes it harder to be invested in stuff like that if you're there for the characters and then they're not the characters. It would be like if I made Marcy suddenly bad ending Marcy in the middle of true ending or something like that. It's just suddenly she's just a stuck-up bitch and starts controlling Skylar. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. I'm not sure if I want to... Technically, she can make her arms whatever size. So can the other characters. But I'll just kind of put it in here. I'm trying not to cover up Fig too much. But yeah, world building can be difficult, especially if it's something you just kind of throw together without thinking about what works. That's why I had to establish that there are giants in the world that Skylar and Marcy live in, but they're like designated areas. So that way they don't just, stomp around and cause trouble for everyone else. And then if they have to go to like smaller areas, there's like little spots where it's like, okay, stay on this section so that way you don't cause any trouble. And it can be hard, because depending on what types of characters you throw in, it can be a task. Let's put the other arm down here. Okay. About 10 more minutes. And then we'll stop for today. I'll likely still work on this and try to get it out by tonight. Just really wish my program didn't crash on me last night. Still mad about that. Speaking of which, I should save. Okay, I'm saved. Last arm. So the arm would be out there, so her tip would probably be over here. Alright, got this panel. One more panel. Let me just darken some spots. This. Last one. Oh yeah, you can merge these. Hope everyone else is doing alright. That's good. Also good. Yeah, I do want to return to I Had 2 in Black Circus pretty soon. Try to crank these out faster. Sometimes the pages get complicated when there's like a lot going on. Like the past few pages have just a ton of characters to draw because of all the cards that Kiwi and Eden had played. This one doesn't have as much characters, but it still takes time. Luckily this is a flat comic, so it doesn't take long to get their colors down. But if this was I-Hat, then I'd be taking time to do like the rendering and stuff like that. Which I might go back and re-look at the pages I did for I-Hat 2, and I might update a few things. Since it's only the first page for the recent chapter is up. So I'd rather make the changes that I want to take now, or make now and then proceed from there, so that way it's not like wait until the end of the chapter and then it changes or something like that. I'd rather just change it now since the chapter is still fresh. I need to make more bug characters. But yeah, if I decide to try streaming on other platforms, I'm just gonna go through the terms of service and all that and make sure I can do certain things. And obviously if I'm gonna draw the characters doing something risque, I might save that for certain postings and all that. Let's change this. Oh, I need to make more bug characters, like insect characters. Because I only have like a few, so I need to make more. I was thinking of making a cockroach character. And then there are different types of bestials out there, because there's the ones that look more like a mantis for emerald species and all that. And others that barely look like mantises. Like emerald looks more like a cricket than a mantis, but that's mostly because her blades are retractable. Actually, let's make her eyes a little bit more. A little bit more calm. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember the housewife. Nah. I'm just gonna keep it this way. It'll be fun to show what has happened to Skylar's exes. So when it's his turn, I will definitely go into that. Alright, I'm gonna call the stream for today. I'm gonna keep working on this a little later tonight, and hopefully it'll be done by tonight. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be... if I can stream, I'm gonna do it on either Wednesday or Friday. If not, then I'll just save it for the week after. I will work on the next auction pretty soon, debating on which character I want to do. I might just leave it up to a roulette again. Question, what's going on with their eyes? Why they suddenly changed? What's the best way to explain this? You will find out soon in like the next few pages. It probably won't be directly told to you what's going on, but you'll kind of get the gist from what you see. But yeah, I will see you guys next time, and I'll let everybody know when I stream again and stuff like that. Thank you for coming. Bye bye.